Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey wife, did you know that Anchor is sponsoring our show?
Really? Don't we use Anchor to distribute our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, and we are on just about every other platform available as well, thanks to them.
Why do we use Anchor as our podcasting service?
Well, they make editing and distributing our show a breeze.
What if one of our listeners wants to start their own podcast?
Then they should head over to anchor.fm or download the app to get started.
Awesome! You guys should go do that right now! Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what we're doing now?
Bible Contradictions.
No, it's called You're Always Wrong!
Jesus Christ. Just why?
Because singing makes everything better.
Does it really, though?
It really does.
Okay.
Just ask anybody.
Anybody, huh?
Mm-hmm. Besides, you're always wrong, so, you know.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going to be doing Bible Contradictions for 2 Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so let's just jump right into this 2 Samuel discrepancies and contradictions.
Yeah, okay.
So, how did Saul die?
Saul died, I don't remember. Didn't he die in a chair? No, that was somebody else. That was Sam. Shit. Saul. There's so many people that die in the Bible. Wait, oh, that's right. He fell on a sword, but no, somebody else decapitated him.
You have to pick one.
But
you have to pick one.
I go with he fell on a sword.
Okay, so you're right. He committed suicide.
Right.
In 1 Samuel chapter 31, verses 4 through 6, somewhere thereabouts, he says, "Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it." So Saul died.
Right.
But you're always wrong. Because not only did he commit suicide, it was also an Amalekite, the Philistines, and God, depending.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
a lot of fucking, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was all kinds of wrong.
Yeah.
And right.
And right. So, but that was 1 Samuel, right?
Yeah.
In 2 Samuel chapter 1, verses 8 through 10, it says something like, "And he, Saul, said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me and slay me. So I stood upon him and I slew him."
Ah.
So this dude says, "I'm an Amalekite." He says this to David.
Right,
You know,
right. Yeah.
"I'm an Amalekite and I killed him."
Right.
But then also in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 12, it was the Philistines. The Philistines had slain Saul.
Huh.
And then
Jesus.
in 1 Chronicles, which we haven't got to yet.
Yeah, but okay.
But we're approaching the Kings and the
But
Chronicles.
just to add to the ridiculousness of how many people killed Saul.
Yeah, it was God. In 1 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 14. "So Saul died for his transgression, which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord, which he kept not, and also for asking counsel of one that had a familiar spirit," you know, the witch of Endor,
Right.
"to inquire of it, and inquired not of the Lord. Therefore he slew him, and turned the kingdom unto David the son of Jesse."
Interesting.
So that one's kind of questionable because God slew him, you know,
Yeah.
but using other people.
Right,
Either
right.
the Philistines and Amalekite or
even
suicide.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Number 2. Did all of Saul's family die with him? Yes or no?
No.
No. You are right. In 2 Samuel chapter 2, verses 1 through 7, thereabouts, it goes on, "Your master Saul is dead, but Abner took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim and made him king." And then also in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verses 1 through 14.
Yeah.
Says something like, the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, and he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord.
Right.
And they fell all 7 together and were put to death. So no.
And that's also not even mentioning Michael.
Right. Well, it did,
really.
actually,
Okay.
but I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. So no, all of Saul's family did not die with him, but guess what?
But they did.
You're always wrong.
Right.
Because also, yes, all of Saul's family did die with him. In 1 Chronicles, which again we haven't got to yet,
Okay.
chapter 10, verse 6, so Saul died and his 3 sons and all of his house died together. The end.
Well, they kind of said that. I thought they said that also in 1 Samuel.
I thought they did too, but I didn't see that listed on the site I was using. So,
but it seemed like they did though.
But I didn't want to go. I don't know. I was busy. I had a lot to look up. So
Right. Okay.
They probably did.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Number 3. How many Philistine foreskins did David buy his first wife Michal with? 100 or 200? Which one?
200.
200. You're right. Because in 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 27, it says, Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. But also, guess what?
I'm wrong.
You're always wrong.
Fuck.
It was 100. Because in 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 14, it says, And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, Deliver me my wife Michal, which I espoused to me for an 100 foreskins of the Philistines. And we called that one out at the time.
Well, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, he got 200, man.
Okay, so number 4. When did Absalom rebel against David? Here's your choices. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
After 40 years or less than 40 years?
Did you say 40 years?
When did Absalom rebel against David? After or less than 40 years?
Less than.
That's what you would
40?
think, right? Yeah.
I thought it was 4 years.
That's what I thought. But, okay, so let's go with less than 4 years. Okay, so you're right.
Oh.
'Cause
Oh, you said 40 or 4?
40. 40.
Okay.
40.
Okay.
Okay, so you're right. Less than 40 years, because David only ruled for a total of 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 4, it says David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years.
Okay,
So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But guess what?
What?
You're always wrong.
But we can't be if he only ruled. Okay.
No.
Okay.
You just don't know.
All right.
You don't know. The
apparently.
Bible can have it both ways.
Yeah.
Because in 2 Samuel chapter 15, verses 7 through 10, it says, And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. So,
Okay.
he either waited 40 years or he didn't.
I'm going to go with didn't.
I would think didn't as well, because
Right.
David only ruled for 40 years.
Right.
But,
So that makes no sense.
right. But, the Bible
Unless they're
says...
unless they're counting like his 40 years, like he was born and then waited until he was 40 to do it. Like he waited until he was 40. That's 40 years.
Well, I just don't know about all that.
I'm just saying.
But
I'm just trying to help the apologist,
Bible, the apologist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, the Bible's never wrong. It has it both ways, always.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. How long was the Ark of the Covenant at Abinadab's house?
3 months.
20 years or more
What?
more than 40 years.
What?
Not the time when they were like, "Oh shit!"
Oh.
Not that time.
Oh,
Not the time that it killed Uzzah.
I'm going to go with 20 because it had to be within David's reign.
Right?
So, like, I would think that it wouldn't be the whole fucking time.
Exactly,
like,
right?
Yeah.
So, you're right. It was 20 years because in 1 Samuel chapter 7, verses 1 and 2, it says, For it was 20 years, and all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. And that was before Saul was made king even.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so 20 years, right?
Yeah.
But you're always wrong.
Awesome.
It was more than 40 years also. Because
Wow.
Saul, David's predecessor, was king for 40 years. So the ark must have been at Abinadab's house for more than 40 years,
'Cause
since it was taken to Abinadab's house before Saul became king and remained there until David succeeded him.
Interesting.
And in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 2 and 3, it says, "And David arose to bring up thence the ark of God, and they set the ark of God upon a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah."
Interesting.
Yeah, we didn't catch that one.
No, we didn't.
Because that's math.
But yeah, it's obscure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not obscure. It's right there. But I mean, like, it would require you to like
Remember
exact times and
Yeah.
things that happen exactly.
And that's what the internet is for.
Right. Yeah.
So this is fun.
It is.
Okay, number 6.
Okay.
Is dancing a sin? Yes or no?
Oh, I mean, David danced, so I'm gonna go with no.
No. Okay. You are right. It's not a sin.
Okay.
Because first, I mean, let's go way back into Exodus. Miriam and the Israelite women danced to celebrate the drowning of Pharaoh's army.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Miriam, in Exodus chapter 15, verses 20 and 21, and Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, "Sing ye to the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea." I remember commenting when we read that, like, oh, so Footloose got it wrong. Dancing is in the Bible. Okay. Then there was also David killed Goliath, and the women danced in every city of Israel.
Right.
In 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 6 through 7, Saul hath slain his thousands and David his 10,000s.
Right.
That's what they were singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, as you pointed out, David danced half naked in front of God, which God loved.
Right.
In 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14,
Yeah.
and David danced before the Lord with all his might, shaking his ding-dong back and forth.
Yep.
Because all he wore was his fucking ephod.
Right.
Yeah. So, no. Dancing is not a sin. But guess what?
It is.
You're always wrong.
Okay.
Because, yes, dancing is absolutely a sin. When Moses returned from Mount Sinai and found the people dancing around a golden calf, he and God went on a murderous rampage.
But I thought that was because of the golden calf.
That's what I thought too. So that one was questionable.
Okay.
But there were a few other places, but they were way out of our reach that we haven't read. Like,
Oh, okay.
I don't mind stretching into Kings and Chronicles a little bit because that's still part of the same story that we're reading. But there were so many other ones. But I just wanted that
So
one.
apparently
because
later dancing becomes taboo. Apparently God at some point's like, these people really can't dance. I'm just going to make this like against the rules. So
someday white people are going to take over religion
Right.
and white man cannot dance.
yeah. Let's
let's
just
not.
this one right now.
Yeah. I don't blame them.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So, number 7. How many children did Michal, David's first wife, have?
None.
None or 5?
What?
None or 5?
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. She was... Oh, because some of the people that they killed were Michael's sons.
Maybe.
I think.
None or 5?
Hypothetically, though, they said that
one.
she had none.
Pick an answer.
I mean,
none or 5?
I have to go with none because the 5
that
came
was
out
so
of like...
straight, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. In 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 20 through 23, somewhere thereabouts, it says, "Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child unto the day of her death."
Right.
Because she had made fun of David and was like, "Stop dancing, you look so fucking stupid."
Well, but yeah,
So,
okay. All right, yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
none.
Right.
Okay. So, but you're always wrong.
Of course.
Okay? Because, and then 2 Samuel chapter 21, verses 1 through 14.
Yeah.
Okay, this gets a little confusing. Okay? The king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, right, whom
Yeah.
she bore unto Saul,
Right.
Armani and Mephibosheth, not the Mephibosheth that
Right.
was crippled. That was Jonathan's son, not that guy. So those 2 guys and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And after that, God was entreated for the land.
Now remember, Michael was married to another person for a while. No?
No.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's what this is about.
Okay.
In the interpretation that we read, it did not say Michal, because we would have been like, "Excuse me, what?"
Right.
In the interpretation that we read, it says Merab.
Ah.
And I looked, and it really depends on which interpretation you read.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Huh.
Excuse me, who the fuck is Merab?
Right. Yeah, I don't... Yeah.
And did somebody just take it upon themselves to just, you know what? It says Michael didn't have any. Let's just put a different name that starts with M. Nobody will notice.
Right.
But the interwebs noticed. Okay?
Yeah.
They noticed.
Right.
And so they were like, no. It said they took the 5 sons of Michael.
Okay.
But Michael didn't have any.
Right.
So did Michael have 0 or 5?
Right. Yeah.
So, but you know what? You could be right. Maybe it was 5 that she had with her previous guy.
Right.
While she was waiting around
I'm
for,
just saying.
What's his butt to come and get her.
Right.
You know?
I mean, that's the only thing I could see as a possibility.
Sure, I'll buy that. You know
Yeah.
what? I'll accept that. I'll
Right.
allow it.
Okay.
Maybe you're not always wrong.
Right.
Okay?
I mean...
But the Bible's always
But I'm definitely
wrong.
at the most half right.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and it's not your fault.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 8, last question.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
How many sons did Absalom have? 3 or none?
Oh, Absalom. I don't recall him having any, actually.
I recalled him having some because, remember, his brother had raped his sister.
Yeah.
And then so Absalom killed his brother Ammon or whatever. And,
he did have a family.
And then
That's
he
right.
had a family, right?
Yeah, that's
that
right.
he wasn't allowed to see
No,
while he
you're
went and
right.
hid.
You're right. Yep. Yeah. So he did have some.
He did
yes.
have some, right?
Okay, yeah.
So 3, okay? And in 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 27, it says, and unto Absalom there were born 3 sons.
Right, okay.
Which, yeah, he missed them while he was hiding out at Grandpa's.
Sure.
And then, he came back and was happy because he got to spend time with his family.
Right.
But then in 2 Samuel chapter 18, verse 18, now Absalom said, I have not son to keep my name in remembrance. So he had 3 sons, but then literally 4 chapters later, it says, just kidding, he had none.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, you will notice that I mentioned that there were some contradictions that we haven't actually reached yet in Chronicles and Kings.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I allowed them because we are getting into Kings and Chronicles.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I want to point out that the ones that I drew were only the most relevant that I felt I could get away with.
Sure.
Having said that, oh my God, the next 4 chapters of 1st and 2nd Kings and then 1st and 2nd Chronicles,
Yeah.
we are going to find so fucking many discrepancies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that is another reason I allowed them, because I wanted to be able to say that and to point out that Jesus Christ, they will rain upon us so many contradictions.
Is there as many contradictions as there are sands in the beach?
Probably, and stars in the sky. Yeah. And they live there to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So
yeah.
that thus ends this episode of You're Always Wrong.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.